the idea of this equivalence between Trump and Bernie. Here is another, and I started off the show by saying this is why you do not. It's fun. It's gratifying to see someone who realized, like, oh, I was working for Breitbart. What a horrible human being. What a horrible outfit. What a horrible institution. The conservative movement is horrible. That does not then make them like representative of what your average Democrat wants out of being like, if you've been a Breitbartian, if you've been a Republican, that just means that that just means that you've had a propensity to have a certain set of issues, and then you have a propensity to get even more wretched. Once you like slice off that wretched part, we still have a problem. And that is that fundamentally Republicans believe in different things than normal people, which is like, you shouldn't be left on to your own when it comes to healthcare. And if you die on the streets, that's just because you made some poor life decisions, like being born to the wrong parents, maybe, or you should have taken that job, or maybe you should have gone for a different major in college or something.
You should have got into more student loan debt.
Yeah, exactly. Or you know what? You had that opportunity from your uncle that one time to be an apprentice as an electrician. You said no, so you're going to die of cancer because you're not going to have health insurance.
You could have gotten on a boat and migrated on a different month.
Exactly. But so here is former Breitbartian Kurt Bardella saying that he's noticed that the vast majority of Bernie Sanders supporters have two legs. And oddly enough, so don't the vast majority of Trump supporters.
Well, the Bernie Bros first came along in the 2016 campaign, and they seemed to be the vocal, kind of almost mob-like, diehard cult-like following of Bernie Sanders. Now, I should be clear, Bernie Sanders has throughout the campaign in 2016, decried some of the tactics they used on social media, the bullying and the targeting primarily of people of color, women who disagree with Senator Sanders' platform. But one of the things that I've experienced firsthand is when I've come on this very program and have raised valid concerns about Senator Sanders and his viability, immediately the Twitter sphere, the Bernie Bros, go hardcore attack mode. And the traits and the words and the rhetoric that they use, the only thing I've ever seen close to that is what MAGA people do, what the Trump voters do. And I think that is a very dangerous and disturbing trend to see, particularly when Democrats are trying to show that there is a better way than what we've seen from Trump, better than the divisiveness and the use of fear and hatred and extremism to try to scare people into a particular ideology. We have to be a Democratic Party that's okay with honest disagreements, that's okay with raising valid concerns and valid questions. I would like to think that Senator Sanders himself wants that for the Democratic Party, but some of his most ardent and hardcore supporters are taking some very, I think, dangerous rhetorical measures. And I think that Senator Sanders in the long run is going to need to be a little bit more vocal about calling that out and condemning that.
All right. So here's the thing. Is it really honest disagreement about ideas if you are basically equating, like we just saw what happened in Virginia on MLK Day, right? And the FBI scooped up about a half a dozen people who had active plans, supposedly, to commit acts of violence on Martin Luther King's birthday. In Virginia, the president of the United States tweeted out in support of these people coming with these weapons. When you say it's rhetorically dangerous to criticize me because I came on this TV show and you equate this, you are not being honest and open and having an honest disagreement. You are you want to say Twitter's a cesspool, and for candidates that have diehard supporters, Twitter's horrible. Absolutely right.
Right.
But
at least we don't pay ours to make these comments.
Well, but it's like, yeah, exactly. But it's like, it's like Alan Dershowitz saying like, God, man, I can't go on the Vineyard without people saying like, I'm not going to have drinks with you anymore. Right. Like, what are you like? How are you extrapolating, and how do they allow this? I mean, it's absurd. This is why you cannot platform people like this.
Well, the funniest thing is these are the same people who go on Fox News and criticize Donald Trump and are Democrats on Fox News, as I am often on Fox News, or the Republicans criticizing Donald Trump. Let me tell you, you have not seen hatred until you have gone on a primetime show, as I'm sure you have too. Well, maybe not, you're at MSNBC. On Fox News, you have not seen the level of hatred. And with all that being said, you get used to it and you shrug it off. And sometimes it can be dangerous and you report it. And I've been in those situations before. But they have never, ever experienced that type of hate. And one more note, because I really want to bring this up. In 2017 and 18, when we were on the Unity Reform Commission, they rebooted their Brockbot, the David Brock $1 million trolls, whatever it was. And they have this ecosystem, which I'll talk about on my show. Subscribe at Patreon/The Nomiki Show. They have this messaging apparatus that is organized many different ways. You have like bat signal people like Neera Tanden out there who signal to Joy Reid, who signal to, the MSNBC host, whatever, on Twitter. And then you have like notables on Twitter who reinforce it. And then you have the followers that go on to Reddit and organize. I received a death threat for the Unity Reform Commission in which nobody was watching because it was on C-SPAN once, I think. Nobody knew anything about the commission other than what we would share, and TYT would show up. I received a death threat with a set of flowers in Vegas, and I had to call up Jamie Harrison at the DNC and I told him, it's got to stop. I was getting hundreds and hundreds of nasty tweets, as was Jim Zogby.
Somebody sent you flowers with a death threat?
And then it stopped. It literally stopped. Jamie Harrison, I don't know what he did, but it stopped. So with all of their outrageous accusations against the Bernie bros, or whatever you want to call us,
I just find it hard to believe that there are really people that intense that, well, it's inevitable. It's
the internet, and we have that many people.
If you're on a Unity Commission talking about the rules of the DNC and the primary, it's inevitable there's going to be a lot of crazies out there.
It was the craziest thing.
That's messed up.
And it was all because they had this smear saying that we were trying to replace all primaries with caucuses because we hated people of color, which was fabricated entirely. And Armando from Daily Kos pushed that out there with some other people when that wasn't even, you can't even legally do that. It's like by your state. Of course, this was their messaging. They wanted to kill the reforms.
Right.